deserve to be on this plane. Get out!
She smiled when she embarrassed him. She stopped smiling when the cops came on board. What would you do if you watched someone humiliate a man who didn't fight back, only to see karma catch up with her before the plane even touched the ground? Before we continue, welcome to Untold Voices. Please like this video, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. We love seeing how far these stories travel. Meet Marcus Daniels, a quiet, well-dressed black man in his 40s, an engineer from Atlanta, calm, polite, soft-spoken, the kind of person who never raises his voice and never draws attention to himself. Marcus had spent the week in Dallas on business, and this flight, Flight 237 to New York, was supposed to be his break. Just a few hours of peace before heading home to his wife and daughter. He was sitting by the window in row 14. He had a book open on his lap and a gentle smile on his face. The kind of man who says thank you to every flight attendant, even for a cup of water. The kind of man who's done everything right in life, but still has to move carefully through a world that doesn't always see him the same way. Then there was her, Rebecca Shaw, a flight attendant in her mid-30s. Blonde ponytail, sharp features, a red lipstick smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She carried herself like she owned the plane. Brisk steps, cold politeness, a fake sweetness that faded the second she turned away. Everyone could tell she didn't want to be there. You could hear it in the clipped tone of her good afternoon, the impatient sigh when someone asked for extra ice. But when her eyes landed on Marcus, something changed. Her smile got tighter, her posture straighter. It wasn't the tired look of a worker. It was the quiet confidence of someone who believed she was above him. About 30 minutes into the flight, the drink cart started rolling down the aisle. Rebecca was in charge. She handed out sodas and pretzels with that same forced grin, chatting warmly with the passengers in first class before her voice went flat by the time she reached economy. When she reached Marcus's row, he looked up from his book and smiled. "Hi," he said kindly. "Could I please have a Coke?" "That's it, just a Coke." But Rebecca's expression froze. Her eyes narrowed for a second before she let out a small laugh, sharp and mean. "You people always want extra things," she said. The words cut through the quiet cabin like a blade. The man next to me looked up from his laptop. A woman 2 rows ahead turned around, confused. Everyone heard it. Marcus blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" Rebecca folded her arms, shifting her weight. "Sir, calm down. I'm not going to argue with you." Her voice was louder now, authoritative, dismissive. Marcus didn't even move. He wasn't angry, just stunned. His face tightened, but he stayed polite. "I just asked for a Coke," he said quietly. She smirked. "You'll have to wait." And then she skipped him, moved right on to the next row, as if he wasn't there. The silence that followed was unbearable. You could feel the air change. Heavy, uncomfortable. The sound of the drink cart rattling away was the only thing keeping everyone from breaking that silence. Marcus didn't argue. He just turned toward the window, trying to breathe. His hands trembled slightly, but he kept his composure. That kind of restraint takes strength most people don't understand. About 10 minutes later, another flight attendant came through. He was younger, maybe late 20s, Latino, with kind eyes and a gentle voice. His name tag said Luis. He was collecting trash and chatting softly with passengers. When he got to Marcus's row, Marcus spoke quietly. He told him what happened. I couldn't hear every word, but I saw Luis's face go still. His jaw tightened, and his whole posture shifted from friendly to serious. He nodded once. "I'll take care of it," he said softly. Then he walked straight to the front of the plane. Rebecca didn't come back after that. The rest of the flight was quiet, uncomfortable. Everyone was pretending to read or sleep, but you could feel the tension, the kind of silence where people know something isn't over, just waiting to unfold. When we began to descend into New York, I noticed the flight attendants whispering up front. Rebecca's face was pale. Luis kept his distance. Then the pilot's voice came over the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated after landing." That's when I knew something was coming. When the plane finally stopped at the gate, 2 police officers boarded. They didn't speak to anyone at first, just walked calmly up the aisle toward the front. Rebecca froze. Her fake smile vanished. The other crew members looked down, avoiding her eyes. After a few seconds, one of the officers said quietly, "Miss Shaw, could you step with us, please?" You could hear the gasp ripple through the cabin. Rebecca's face turned red. She tried to speak, something about a misunderstanding, but the officers didn't listen. They simply motioned her forward. As she walked down the aisle, people started whispering. Some passengers lifted their phones, filming. One woman in first class had already sent a video to the airline's complaint department, a full recording of Rebecca's words and actions. The video went viral before we even left the runway. The airline's corporate office saw it in real time. Rebecca's job, her image, her authority, all gone before the passengers even stood up. When she passed by Marcus, she wouldn't look at him. Her lips trembled. The same mouth that had mocked him now pressed shut, shaking. The officers escorted her off the plane, past the waiting crowd in the terminal, while the rest of us sat in stunned silence. Marcus didn't celebrate. He didn't even look pleased. When the seatbelt sign turned off, he stood up, reached for his small carry-on, and looked at Luis. "Thank you," he said softly. Luis nodded. "I'm sorry that happened." Marcus smiled faintly. "It's all right. I've seen worse." He walked off calmly, with the same quiet dignity he had when he boarded. That's what I can't forget. Rebecca had the uniform, the badge, the authority, everything society says gives you power, but she used it to put down a man who did nothing wrong. And the universe reminded her how fast that kind of power can disappear. She thought she was above him. But when the truth came out, everyone saw who really carried themselves with grace and who didn't. Within days, the airline suspended her indefinitely. Within weeks, the video spread across social media, millions of views, thousands of comments. Her name trended for all the wrong reasons. She lost her job, she lost her image, and she lost the mask she'd worn for years. All because she chose cruelty when she could have chosen kindness. Marcus, on the other hand, went home quietly. No interviews, no social media posts, just back to his family, to his peace. Because real strength doesn't need to shout. This story isn't about revenge, it's about reflection. Respect is free, but disrespect can cost you everything. So the next time someone tests your patience, remember Marcus Daniels, a man who stayed calm when the world expected him to break and watched karma do what it always does. If this story moved you, make sure to hit like, share this video, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. This is Untold Voices, where the truth speaks louder than hate.